I'm here with John Ramdeen and Robin Black, and we're going to talk about a press conference today. I know this is always your favorite topic, Ramdeen.
Actually, normally I would hate this type of thing, but the level of entertainment that went down in Torrance, California at that press conference was remarkable. Dave Schaller in between these two guys going at it
There's
back and
something
forth.
about, I think we need to do some analytical work into a Dave Schaller presence at a media event and how it just escalates. Maybe it's because...
People fear Dana. They know that he's the big boss. People normally don't want to get themselves involved. So
I don't think it would have been any different if Dana was at this press conference,
no.
to be quite honest with you. It was very entertaining. It was 26 minutes or so of pure promotion for this card, which I think you watch this press conference, there's no way you're not interested in this fight. I don't care who you are. I think that this, to what we said before this press conference, that yes, Dos Anjos is out, but man, they have a replacement that may generate even more interest. And when you combine the audience that I feel Holly Holm has picked up somewhat from the Ronda Rousey fight, this is going to be a gigantic number they pull on the 5th.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was going to be 1 million, because all the UFC is going to do over the next 10 or 11 days is show highlights from this presser. Going to get everybody amped up about it.
They'll do another one probably too.
I'm sure they will. Again, this really...
Nick's going to be in town.
Of course.
I mean, this is just all systems go. Like, this is all your ways to hotshot a main event in a short amount of time. It's going to be out in full force. You're going to have the Irish fans there, the Diaz fans there. Nick's going to be in the middle of it all holding court. Nate's going to be pissed off at some point. I mean, it's going to be every day of just drama here involving these two. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and that's what you want leading up to the day of the fight, being March 5th. But we can't ignore the date of March 5th. Once that cage door closes, what are we going to see? Are we going to see a competitive matchup? Are we going to see 5 rounds? Or are we going to see Conor McGregor do what he's done to a slew of opponents inside of the world-famous octagon, including Jose Aldo, one of the greatest fighters of all time, taking this guy out in less than 30 seconds?
Yeah, enjoy this stuff.
Yeah.
It will definitely be fun, and there are a lot of reasons it's fun, but one of the reasons that I like about these guys is they are authentic. They are not acting. Conor addressed that specifically. It's like, they say I play games. This is who the guy is. I know plenty of people that train with him and work with him. He's the guy who walked into a room and lit everybody up before he was ever a Cage Warriors champion, never mind a UFC champion. It's who the guy is. It's how the guy goes through the world. Nate Diaz, there's nobody more authentic than the Diaz brothers. Nate Diaz is not playing games with you. Nate Diaz is not even trying to sell fights. He loves that he's going to make money. He's a rich man now. That's great. But he is not playing any kind of games. This is authenticity at its finest. How that will matter, or if that will matter in the cage, that's another conversation that we have to have in a minute.
All right, let's go to one of the highlights from the press conference. This is a clip we will call Bringing a Knife to a Gunfight.
I don't get our shape. He gets our shape. His fight against Dos Anjos, he looked like he was the skinniest fat guy I've ever seen in my life. The last fight he came in shape. This time now, the fact that he's asking for weight changes all the time, I'd imagine he got back out of shape, so he's talking like, relax, Nick. He's doing good up here, Nick. Relax. So I took note from him. I worked hard. I worked hard, and that's it.
All midgets. I fought every week forever. I've been in the UFC forever, fighting everybody. Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
Your teammate Gil and Jake were 2 caught on steroids. Not
and
me.
You and those
not me. What are you talking about? Not me. I'm not on no steroids. What the are you talking about? Your 2 teammates were on steroids. That's your 2 boys, the scrap pack. Remember that? Well, damn, they were. Did you know they were taking that stuff? Did you know they were taking that stuff? Did you?
You're on steroids.
Sure I am. I'm just an animal.
Robin Black, what do you take from that clip in particular and the body language especially? Because there was a point in this press conference where Nate Diaz just shut down for me watching him. I mean, he was done with this.
Yeah, Nate Diaz is going to make a lot of money, and there was some very interesting things if you look at face value, and that's why, again, I like watching these gentlemen is because they're giving you face value. There's a very huge rarity in the world. Why does anybody pay attention to Donald Trump? Why does he stand out? Because he actually says things. He doesn't dance around topics. And these guys are exactly the same way. Nate Diaz says what Nate Diaz feels like. And if he's like, if he gets to that point, that's how he feels. Nate Diaz also made the point, and we all believe him, he's going to go in there and kill or be killed. And that's all he really needs to say. He's not saying things or coming up with clever things. He doesn't have it in his back pocket of what to say. Conor might, because Conor has that clowny element to entertaining his friends, making everybody in the room laugh. If he was sitting at the table with us, he'd want to make the room laugh. That's who the guy is. It's authentic. Both of these guys are authentic.
What I like about it is Conor's still trying to do the things. He's adding to his game. He knows that come March 5th, he's going to have to be in a physical confrontation with Nathan Diaz. But why not try to rattle the cage, try to get this guy out of his comfort zone? But I think Conor McGregor was surprised by what Nate brought to the table in terms of verbal abuse, because we have a clip where it seems that Conor McGregor kind of got rattled by some of the things Nathan Diaz was saying.
Go ahead, Evie. Your bitch ass belt too.
The belt. I don't give a the belt. The only belt
Why
I
you
care
bring it
about.
everywhere? Why you bring it everywhere? Why you bring it
Belt, nothing. The only thing I give a belt is the check, and my check's super heavy.
I don't give a about no belt, motherfucker. Fight ass whoopings all day.
And you saw Nathan Diaz there telling him, why are you bringing the belt everywhere? You say you don't care about the belt. And Conor getting himself all excited. And then from there, he says, all I care about is making money. And then you see him kind of get a little bit frustrated, or seem to get a little bit frustrated and kind of sink in. And I'm sure he'll go back to his team and say, look, he's just trying to amp you up, get you all excited. I think it's a new element that is introduced to the opponents of Conor McGregor.
Well, I do a podcast with David Mullins, who's a sports psychologist at SBG. We're going to do one next week on this matchup and on the things that are happening in this matchup. But, yeah, of course we are. And it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a few key things to think about. We can't go over them all here. Watch the podcast next week. But there's a number of very interesting things. And among them is Conor McGregor knows full well that the games that he plays normally are for his own pleasure, for his own entertainment. They make him feel in a fight. Sometimes they affect his opponent. He knows they're not going to affect Nate Diaz much. He also knows Nate Diaz playing the Stockton slap versus the flim flam. That sounds like a lot of fun. But in the end, there will be a certain amount of them canceling each other out. The same way you can't do a card trick on a guy who does card tricks. They both understand it. So what we're going to be left with is a mixed martial arts fight. And Conor McGregor cleanly believes that his movement and mobility is the key to the very heavy, particularly front foot of Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz heavy on that front foot. That's what lets him get that large quantity of punches out, those shotgun shells of punches heavy on the front leg. You can kick it, you can move around it, you can make him stationary. That's the game. And whether or not McGregor's smiling and doing his thing, or Nate Diaz go, I bitch slap you, I bitch slap. And you got to look at back at Anthony Johnson. You literally are seeing him slap him and reading his lips as he... Like, that stuff is entertaining, but they are not doing it to entertain us or necessarily to harm their opponent, although Nate definitely harmed our guy Johnson with that. They're doing it because it's authentically them. It's not going to play a giant role in this fight, but it's going to entertain us a lot leading up to it.
In an indirect way, are the greatest beneficiaries of this Holly Holm and Miesha Tate.
Yeah.
They are flying under the radar to me to the exact same level Robbie Lawler and Rory McDonald were for 189. I mean, those two women, I think next week, certainly there will be some focus on them. Of course, it's a big title fight, but it's going to be nothing in comparison to this fight.
Yeah, just like you mentioned, Robbie and Rory, they were like, we don't really like to talk anyways. And these guys, especially Conor McGregor, are very entertaining. And I'm sure Holly Holm and Miesha Tate are going to be the same thing. We haven't heard Holly Holm say a lot of things. She could talk a lot of smack about Ronda Rousey, but she doesn't. She is a professional. She's been in the game of boxing for so long, and she's just following the boxing trends, save for Floyd Mayweather. But I think, like you said, they're going to make a lot of money, and now they can just focus on putting on a show.
Miesha seems to like to work her social media and do all of that stuff, do television and stuff. She may miss it, but Holly Holm will love the fact that that's all removed. It'll give her extra focus in the gym. This is going to be a fun week.
This coming weekend, the UFC is in London, England at the O2 Arena. It's Anderson Silva versus Michael Bisping. Our pre-show starts off at 3 Eastern Saturday afternoon, followed by the main card, which is airing here in Canada on Fight Network with 4 big fights coming your way from London, England.